For 3 memorable years, red and black were the colors of royalty in the NBA. But that dynasty is now history. Soon, a new champion will reign. This symbol of supremacy rides on the outcome. The two teams intent on seizing the prize have different styles and personnel, but they share something essential. The New York Knicks and the Houston Rockets are passion personified. Through good times and bad, Patrick Ewing has been the man in New York. For 9 years, his ability and desire have never diminished. All-star, dream teamer, but still, one precious credential is missing, and he has learned these opportunities are rare. Hakeem Olajuwon's play this year has exhausted all superlatives. Still, the league's MVP knows his individual success was a direct result of team unity, a unity they must depend on to defeat a Ewing-led team, something Hakeem was unable to do once before. 10 years ago, Ewing and Olajuwon met in the NCAA championship game. Hakeem outscored Patrick 15-10 that night. But when the final score was tallied, Ewing and Georgetown had fulfilled their dream. A decade later, the circumstances are different, but each is again on the verge of a championship. The question, whose team will have the skill and not incidentally the heart to ascend to the vacant NBA throne? It begins tonight with this trophy and all it represents at stake.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1994 NBA Finals. Tonight, Game 1 between the New York Knicks and the Houston Rockets.
A sweltering June night in the city of Houston, where sports fans are hungry for a title of any kind. The last several years have brought a series of frustrating near misses by the collegiate Cougars and by the professional Oilers, Astros, and even these Rockets, who got to the NBA Finals twice in the 80s, only to lose both times to the Boston Celtics. And you can hear how fired up they are as the last and most difficult portion of the climb to the NBA Summit begins tonight at the Summit in Houston. Hi everyone, I'm Bob Costas and welcome to the NBA Finals. Houston, the team and the city, has already waited 8 days for this, having eliminated the Utah Jazz back on May 31st. As for the Knicks, you can say they've waited for this moment for over 3 years, or since the moment they hired Pat Riley. In hiring Riley, the Knicks were asking him to do for New York what he had done so routinely for the Los Angeles Lakers: take a team to this setting. Doing so is already one of Riley's greatest accomplishments, because while this Knicks team is rarely outworked or out-hustled, it is clearly nowhere near as good as Riley's Laker teams. Thus, Rudy Tomjanovich's Rockets are heavily favored to win this series. After all, they've won 8 of their last 10 games this postseason, while the Knicks needed every last second, and some would say every last call, to finally subdue the Bulls and then hold off the Pacers. In Game 7 against Indiana, Patrick Ewing delivered his best game as a professional, at least when you consider the circumstances. 24 points, 22 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 block shots. New York will need more of that from Ewing in this series, and he'll have to do it against the league's MVP, Hakeem Olajuwon. Not since 1969, when Russell and Chamberlain concluded their epic struggles, has the matchup at center been so much at the heart of an NBA final, to the point where the series is defined by the men in the middle. Nigerian-born Olajuwon and Jamaican-born Ewing. A decade after they met for the NCAA title, one will emerge with his first NBA championship. Whose quest for NBA glory will end in this series, and who will have to wait at least another year? That's where Marv Albert and Matt Gukas pick up the story courtside. Marvelous.
All right, Bob, and since the days of the Hoyas of Georgetown and Phi Slama Jam of the University of Houston, Hakeem Olajuwon and Patrick Ewing have met 16 times since entering the NBA. The Rockets have won 10 of those games, and the Knicks have won 6 of those games. But in the season series this year, it was all Rockets. Houston Rockets overwhelming the New York Knicks.
Well, it's difficult to judge a matchup in only 2 games, but an impression was made. And in both regular season games, the Rockets defeated the Knicks easily, and Hakeem got the best of Patrick with 33 points a game and pulling down close to 17 rebounds. Now, here is the defensive scheme for tonight. To start, at least, Patrick Ewing will defend Hakeem Olajuwon one-on-one, mainly because it's the New York Knicks philosophy and the respect that Pat Riley has for the three-point capability of the Rockets. At the other end, Houston will double-team Patrick Ewing, mainly to protect Olajuwon from picking up some fouls.
And Matt, during the course of this series, they will be shooting from all angles. The three-point shot figures to be a major factor.
Well, the Knicks are not shy about shooting threes, and both Derek Harper and John Starks figure to get a lot of good looks because of the double teaming on Ewing. And during the season, the Rockets set an NBA record in three-pointers attempted and made. And in the playoffs, those threes have accounted for 21% of their offense.
Now you take a look at these two clubs, and the most entertaining matchup on these two ball clubs, pitting Vernon Mad Max Maxwell and John Starks. Both obviously have very explosive personalities.
Well, John Starks kept his emotions under control in the conference final against the Pacers and definitely played his best basketball since coming back from knee surgery. And Vernon Maxwell, already with 9 technical fouls, far more than anyone else in the playoffs, got the message from his teammates at a players-only meeting just last Monday, and that message was for Max to keep his composure.
All right, coming up, it's game 1 of the NBA Finals between the New York Knicks and the Houston Rockets. We'll be back with the introduction of the starting lineups in a moment.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold. By McDonald's, official restaurant of World Cup USA 94. And by Jeep and Eagle, official vehicles of the NBA.
It has been a hot and humid 93-degree day here in Houston, Texas. More of the same tomorrow. Here's a stat of note going into game 1 of the NBA Finals. Eastern Conference teams have had their way on the road in the NBA Final, but the balance of power may have shifted. This all the result of strong Detroit and Chicago teams. The Bulls, of course, of Michael Jordan. Now we are set for the introduction of the starting lineups. Let's go to the public address voice of Matt Thomas.
Good evening, everyone, here in the Summit. Our listeners on NBA radio and the national television audience watching on NBC to Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Let's meet tonight's starting lineups. First, for the Eastern Conference champions, the New York Knicks. At guard, 6'4" from Illinois, number 11, Derek Harper. The other guard is 6'5" from Oklahoma State, number 3, John Starks. At one forward, 6'9" from Virginia Union, number 34, Charles Oakley. The other forward is 6'10" from Pittsburgh, number 54, Charles Smith. From Georgetown, number 33, Patrick Ewing. The Knicks are coached by Pat Riley. His assistants are Dick Carter and Jeff Van Gundy. The directors, Roberts and Tim Walsh.
Introducing your Western Conference champions, your Houston Rockets. At guard, 6'4" from Florida, number 11, Vernon Maxwell. The other guard is 6'3" from North Carolina, number 30, Earl Smith. At one forward, 6'10" from Alabama, number 25, from Providence, number 33, Otis. Otis Thorpe. At the center is 7 feet. the MVP, Hakeem Olajuwon. Your Rockets are coached by Rudy Tomjanovich. His assistants are Carol Thompson, Bill Berry, and Larry Smith. The trainer is Ray Nungiori.
And once again, we are joined on the sidelines by both Ahmad Rashad and Hannah Storm. We have reports from both. Let's start with Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Mark. There have been reports about Charles Oakley's foot being so swollen he couldn't get a shoe on. That is not the case. I talked to Charles about it. He said he's been getting treatment on it, and the foot is much better today than it was on Sunday. He should be fine. I also talked to John Starks about the matchup between him and Vernon Maxwell. He told me that he learned about getting too involved in matchups when he played against Michael Jordan. When you get all hyped about the matchup, all it does is take you out of the flow of your game. And he says that in winning a championship, it's not about a personal matchup between him and Vernon Maxwell. For the Houston side of it, let's go down to Hannah.
Thanks, Ahmad. The Rockets' biggest concern coming into this one is that they would...
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate it.
Electricity in the air, butterflies everywhere.
And the Rockets control. Robert Horry picked up on a switch by John Starks. Otis Thorpe being played here by Patrick Ewing. Goes to the running hook. Rebounded by Charles Smith. And here comes John Starks. Charles Smith. Derek Harper. Starks. Ewing. Rebounded by Thorpe. Maxwell with Starks back on the pull-up. The Knicks back to the offense. Just underway. Opening minutes. Game one of the best of seven between the New York Knicks and the Houston Rockets. Rockets with a long layoff have not played since May the 31st. They were able to complete the playoff run by knocking off Utah in the conference final in 5. The Knicks with a couple of grueling series, ending it on Sunday against Indiana in 7. Maxwell on the acceleration. Olajuwon. It's a double team, and it's a traveling violation.
Well, as you can understand, everybody a little bit nervous, a little bit tentative, and it looks like players just want to get their hands on the basketball and make sure they hold it, and if they get any kind of look, throw it up to the basket to get rid of these butterflies.
Smith rejected and fouled. Charles Smith met by Hakeem Olajuwon, and it's called on Hakeem.
Well, Charles Smith is going to get some offense. He generally does it in the first 5 or 6 minutes of the first quarter. Had a nice slashing cut across the lane and took it hard to Hakeem Olajuwon, who was always patrolling in there, looking to drop off his man and block shots.
Charles Smith has been doing it at the line. Look at the production of Charles Smith. 12.5 points against the Nets, 8.5 against the Bulls, dropped off against the Indiana Pacers. Charles Smith making it back from the arthroscopic knee surgery. So the Knicks won, and the Rockets nothing. And the consecutive free throw streak of Smith has concluded. Maxwell from Smith. And back comes Starks. Ewing off a double team. So Patrick Ewing has given the Knicks a 3-0 lead. The Rockets 0 for their first 4.
And both teams looking like they had heavy legs in transition defense. Lots of fast breaks early.
Off the steal for Smith, who puts it down. And the Knicks are up 5-0. And it looks like the Rockets want to talk it over. Early timeout taken by Rudy Tomjanovich. Now the Indiana series, the Knicks did get off to some fast starts, particularly in games 5 and 6, and then had their problems in the fourth quarter, but Houston is old for the first couple of minutes here.
Well, Patrick Ewing coming off just an unbelievable performance in Game 7 against the Pacers here. He gets a little drop-off pass at the end of a fast break, measures the shot beautifully, and lets it go. And here on this lob pass, Patrick Ewing, who will try to front Olajuwon as much as possible, and starts a fast break for the Knicks. And Charles Smith with the strong finish. With Ewing defending Olajuwon in a one-on-one situation, it's going to mean that the New York guards and perimeter players have to put a lot of pressure on the ball, because a good portion of that time Ewing will try to get around and front Olajuwon. Not pressure on the ball, they'll be able to throw that easy lob pass.
In those 2 games during the regular season, Patrick Ewing 4 for 20, 5 for 15. 2 of his worst games of the regular season. Rockets are winning 93-73 here in Houston and 94-85 in New York. Horry. So Houston with its first field goal. Robert Horry. The Knicks now lead 5-2. Harper lost it off his foot, but able to recover. Now Ewing facing single coverage. Goes to the fadeaway. Rebounded by Smith. Ewing with some room. Yes. And the Knicks are up 7-2.
Well, Patrick's been able to get a couple of medium-range jumpers, 15, 16 feet, mainly because the man defending him, Olajuwon, standing in the lane, looking to help out defensively.
Olajuwon taking advantage of the overplay. Oakley went for the steal and hit the floor.
Well, if you make a mistake in there, it's going to be very difficult to recover. And as I said, the Knicks would like to front Olajuwon no matter who was guarding him.
That's a 3-pointer for Derek Harper. Derek Harper picking up his play late in the series against Indiana. Has given the Knicks a 10-4 lead. Off the steal, a foul is called. Foul on Maxwell. Trying to hold back Starks on that fast break attempt.
On a couple of occasions, Charles Oakley has had to pick up Olajuwon in transition, just too slow getting on the top side, and Olajuwon uses his body so well at shielding you off and walking you up the lane. If he gets a good pass, he can finish like that.
This is a New York Knicks team that went 57-25 in the regular season. Won the Atlantic for the 2nd straight year. Then in the playoffs, beat the Nets 3-1, beat the Bulls in a very tough 7-game set, and beat Indiana in a difficult 7-game series. Oakley knocked it away. Starks has a 3-on-2. Smith down the left side and blows the layup. Back come the Rockets. Thorpe for Horry with the room. And Ewing rebound. Harper for Ewing, dumps it off to Smith. Charles Smith getting many opportunities.
And right now, Charles Smith is absolutely exhausted. He could not finish on that last ball to the basket, and he looked very weak in the legs trying to put that shot up.
Olajuwon with a drop step move, and he was blocked by Ewing. Well, that's the first call on Patrick Ewing. It is a non-shooting foul. This Houston Rocket team that went 58-24 in the regular season, won the Midwest Division by 3 games over San Antonio in the playoffs, beat Portland 3-1, beat Phoenix in 7 after losing the first 2 at home. Ewing tried to draw the charge, and a holding foul is called on Starks. It's called in the act. And then the Rockets knocked off Utah in the Western Conference Finals in 5. They have won 8 of the last 10 games in the playoffs. Starks called for his first, and Otis Thorpe will go to the line. Otis in his 10th season out of Providence, not a good free throw shooter.
Just 60% during the playoffs, and he has had some kind of playoff run and some pretty tough guys to guard. Buck Williams. Portland series, Charles Barkley, who was not 100% Charles Barkley, but still an effective offensive player. Karl Malone in the Western Conference Final, and now we'll have to do battle with the likes of Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason. Not the scorers that, of course, Barkley and Malone are, but certainly will do a lot of damage around the board.
Joe Crawford taking charge, getting one of the ball boys to handle the wet spot on the floor.
Rudy Tomjanovich has been trying to figure out exactly what his team is trying to do offensively right now. They look very out of sync.
The Knicks 10 and the Rockets 5. 4.5 gone by. Starks. Maxwell did not go for the fake. Starks was trying to get it down low to Ewing. Thorpe for Maxwell. Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon with a second field goal. And the Knicks lead is 3. Here's the double team on Ewing. Harper, 4. That's a 2-point shot, says Jack Madden. He thought it was 3, did not matter. Ball was deflected out by the Knicks.
Well, there was the belated double team by the Rockets. It came slow, very easy for Patrick to find the open man, Harper. And this is the philosophy of the Rockets, to double Ewing to get the ball out of the hands of the top scorer. And quite frankly, the Rockets do not respect the outside shooting of New York.
Thorpe getting it to the corner to Smith. Horry for 3. So the Rockets continue to have their shooting problem. They're 3 for 9 from the field. The Knicks lead is 3. Oakley trying to set the pick. Now Oakley has the open jumper. Yes. The Knicks 12, the Rockets 7.
Well, most people that suspected trouble with the 7-day layoff felt it would be in the shooting area, mainly because the Rockets are such a perimeter-oriented and 3-point shooting team that when you lose your timing and your legs, it affects your shot.
And Rudy Tomjanovich is upset. Here the early going has called for a timeout. Well, of course, the major concern of the New York Knicks is the scoring of Hakeem Olajuwon. He's hit his first 2, one from the outside right here and one from in close. How will the Knicks defend Hakeem throughout this series? We talked about that with Knicks coach Pat Riley.
We watched a 47-minute post tape of the 3 playoff rounds against Portland, Phoenix, and Utah. And we saw him being doubled and tripled and playing single coverage. He still scored and everybody else got off. And so you got to make him work. You got to try to limit his catches. You got to put 2, 3 different guys on him, and you just got to make him work for it. Now, he's a great, great player, and he will continue to work. But we don't want to break our defense down and give them all of the things they get out of their post game. So, you know, we will pick and choose during the course of the game when we will double team him, but for the most part, we want to contain the other players too.
Well, right now, Charles Oakley is guarding Olajuwon, or at least he was before he spun away and got that open shot. So it looks like the Knicks' strategy is to mix it up, give him different looks. He takes so many jump shots, and in that scouting tape, 15 jump shots to every inside move. That's amazing.
In the previous possession, Oakley was called for the foul, his first. Knicks lead by 3. Here's Oakley. Charles has opened up by hitting 2 jump shots, 5.5 remaining in this first quarter. The Knicks 14 and the Rockets 9. Thorpe setting the pick up high. Oakley jumping out, and the Rockets swing it. Maxwell, yes, that's a 3 for Maxwell, and the Rockets trail by 2.
Well, the Rockets Rockets get so many open threes because Olajuwon normally gets double, but when the Knicks trap that pick and roll, they'll get good looks at the three as well.
And a nice move by Patrick Ewing. His third field goal. He has 6, the Knicks 16, and the Rockets 12. Leg block, good play though by Starks, breaking up the pass, headed for the corner. Set it for Thorpe.
Well, Patrick Ewing is really enjoying taking the ball into the middle from that right to left, and against the Indiana Pacers, he was getting closer and trying to come up through the arms of Smits to draw the foul. Here he used the fadeaway maneuver.
Anthony Mason has come on for Charles Oakley, and Mason right now guarding Robert Horry. Horry figures to be a difficult matchup for the Knicks. Correction, Mason came in for Charles Smith. Here's Olajuwon, that time guarded by Ewing. And the Knicks now lead 16-14. So the Knicks front line, Ewing with Oakley and Mason, Harper and Starks in the backcourt. Sam Cassell getting set to check in for the first time.
Sam Cassell checks in.
Sam Cassell, the impressive rookie out of Florida State who has really come on in the playoffs. Had that terrific game in Game 7 against the Phoenix Suns here at the Summit. Mason off the fake. Mason rejected by Olajuwon. Here's Cassell for Maxwell. Maxwell gets inside. Shot deflected, but Thorpe converts. And the game is tied at 16.
Well, Max normally doesn't have that little in-between game, but the pressure by Stark forced him out of the beyond the arc into the lane, and one of the rare offensive rebounds for Houston.
Well, there's been no respect for the outside shooting of Charles Oakley. That's his third jump shot, and each were open shots. And it may be just a matter of time before the Rockets put a hand in his face, but Oakley has had the touch right throughout the season. Knicks now lead by 2, and Jack Madden with the call of illegal defense. The first time, missed the warning against the Knicks.
And on Charles Oakley, ready to help out Patrick Ewing, who was fronting Olajuwon and no backside help. Oakley recognized it. Decent pressure by Harper on the ball with Sam Cassell's hand, but Charles Oakley ready to help his team. And Oakley and Ewing doing a good job defensively, communicating, switching up, changing the look on Olajuwon.
Olajuwon has hit his first 4 shots. Easily gets away from Ewing. And the foul.
Once again, Patrick Ewing trying to front, and really just not good enough pressure by Anthony Mason out on the floor. As Olajuwon again holding off with that left arm, just giving enough space on the excellent pass from Robert Horry. Mason was up on him, but to prevent that pass, keep in mind, Horry is 6'10". You have to get all over him and make him put the ball on the floor because Olajuwon presents such a good target.
Foul on Ewing, his second. He will sit down. Herb Williams checking in. Patrick Ewing, 3 out of 5, 6 points. This has been the pattern in the 2-game season series. Ewing getting in foul trouble, not able to get going against Olajuwon. 3-point play, first time the Rockets have led tonight. Houston 19, New York 18, 3.5 remaining in this opening quarter. They double up on Mason. Oakley again given the room to operate. Pitched it back. Here's Starks. And a loose ball foul called on the Rockets.
Foul is called on Houston's 34.
It's on Olajuwon. That is his second.
And that was a cheapie there as he's going to push Anthony Mason right in the back as Mason doing a good job of boxing out. And really just a little shove with the left hand, but that call has to be made, even though Mason gave it a little acting job and a little bit of a flop. So the marquee matchup, sitting and watching for a while.
A 3-pointer for Derek Harper. And the Knicks now lead 21-19. Carl Herrera making his return. He has come on replacing Hakeem Olajuwon. That's a 3 off the mark. Rebounded by Harper. Herrera had been out with a dislocated right shoulder. The injury suffered earlier in the playoffs. Herb Williams rimming the basket. And back comes Horry. Just under 3 minutes remaining in this first quarter. The Knicks 21 and the Rockets 19. Herrera had a terrific game against the Knicks back in December at Madison Square Garden. Thorpe. And the rebound is deflected out by take a timeout with 2:35 remaining. First quarter, the Knicks by 2. The Houston Rockets have come a long way defensively the past 2 years under head coach Rudy Tomjanovich. And people are always needling Rudy that here he's stressed defense, despite the fact that he was an offensively oriented player. We discussed that with Rudy T.
People are always making jokes, and I tell them, hey, I did play defense. If you look on one of those basketball cards, they got me in a defensive stance on only one. We started from day one, putting in a defensive system where we have definite things we want to do, but the thing that really made it work is I'm blessed with guys who have that warrior type mentality who want to do it and take pride in it. And all the coaches in this league, have their game plans and their systems. I'm blessed to have these guys that they enjoy it, and it's the hardest part of the game.
And at the offensive end, a beautiful move by Vernon Maxwell to tie the game at 21. And the foul is called.
Houston foul number 7.
Here's a look at that mean-looking defensive pose of Rudy Tomjanovich. Our staff, incidentally, Matt, has gathered together 7 of his 10 cards. Here are some of the others, all offensively geared as you look at the Rudy Tomjanovich card collection. Herrera was called for that foul. Harper off the back rim, and a loose ball foul charged against the Knicks. It's on Mason.
Loose ball foul against the Knicks, 14.
Well, Bob, when you could shoot the ball as well as Rudy Tomjanovich, you didn't have to play a lot of defense back in those days. He used to set up way out on the left wing, maybe what is now a foot or so just inside the three-point line, at an excellent bank shot. Was a good defensive rebounder, but when he became an assistant coach, that's when he realized how important playing defense was as far as winning basketball games.
And as I recall, you're looking at the retired jersey of Rudy Tomjanovich, who was in his 24th season with the Rockets franchise as a player and assistant coach, and now head coach, 5-time All-Star as a member of the Rockets. Robert Horry trying to give his club a 2-point lead. As I recall, among your numerous stops on the NBA trail, you a one-time teammate of Rudy here in Houston.
He liked me. I gave him the ball.
Just under 2 minutes to go in the first. Harper trying to put it back, looking to get it to Williams, but it was deflected out and last touched by the Rockets.
Well, Derek Harper getting a step on the rookie. Cassell loses possession of the ball, but as Thorpe comes over to try to break up the play, he took a shot in the face. He's okay.
Shot clock is at 10. Harper. And Thorpe comes up with it, wheels it, and then gets it ahead to Cassell. Sam Cassell on a pull-up. Anthony Mason with the rebound. Recall back in the Indiana series, the Knicks were trying to run selectively, and it did play a role in pulling out that 7-game series.
And a gigantic role in Game 6 when they scored a unheard of 33 fast break points. Pat Riley wants them to run at every opportunity after a defensive rebound, a steal, a block shot. They have to get easy baskets. Their half-court offense is just so inconsistent.
Greg Anthony just checked in off the mark. Last touch by the Knicks. A minute 20 to go, first quarter. Rockets 22, and the Knicks 21. Marv Albert, Matt Dukas, Ahmad Rashad, Hannah Storm from the Summit in Houston. Bob Costas will be on hand at halftime with the Prudential halftime report. Herrera gets inside. Carl Herrera extends to a 3-point Houston lead. Herrera's last action, Game 5 of the series against Phoenix, when he dislocated his right shoulder, making his return here tonight. Starks from 2-point range for his first field goal. And the Rockets lead 24-23. Cassell guarded by Anthony. Both Olajuwon and Ewing sitting down after picking up their second foul. Maxwell for 3. Cassell keeps it alive. That by the double team. Got it out. Gets it back. Again, squeezed inside, but finds Herrera. His shot blocked by Williams. And it is a, let's see, a loose ball foul call on Otis Thorpe. So Thorpe is first. Both teams are over the limit. 18 and 6/10 seconds to go in this first quarter. And Starks to the line.
Well, when Hakeem Olajuwon goes to the bench, and where he is now with 2 personal fouls, the Houston offense has to change dramatically because 80% of the offense normally goes through his hands. They're running this little high elbow pick and roll situation and doing a good job of spreading the floor and getting some good shots and even getting some offensive rebound opportunities, which is very unusual for him. At the other end, the Knicks are just trying to pass the ball around and hope to make a long shot right now. They do have a post-up presence with Anthony Mason. They have just not gotten the ball inside him yet in a clean situation.
Jent, rookie from Ohio State by way of the CBA, has just come on, replacing Otis Thorpe. That for the possible long-range shooting at the end of the quarter. The Rockets and Knicks tied at 24, 15 seconds remaining in the first. Maxwell, played by Starks. Jent. Cassell, time running out. Cassell with a spectacular shot. Cassell able to hit on the driving hook. Maxwell with the steal and gets it off. Would not have counted. After one at the Summit, Rockets by 2 off this shot by Sam Cassell, the rookie from Florida State.
Well, just a spread the floor situation at the end of the clock, and Cassell with a hoop-de-doo just getting it off nicely off the rim.
First round draft pick Sam Cassell ending the quarter to give the Rockets a 2-point lead.
Rashad back here at the Summit here in Houston. And I am joined now by a man, this used to be his time here in the NBA. 9 times in the final, 5 NBA championships, Irvin Johnson. Now, Irvin, as I watch this game, besides Hakeem or Earl Cureton, those are the only 2 guys that ever played in the finals. They look a little tight.
Yeah, I think both teams came out a little tight, but this was a great first quarter for New York. I think they needed this for their confidence, and they really haven't let Houston get out and run.
Speaking about New York, what about Pat Riley? Now, he was in all those finals also, but he did it with a team with Showtime, run and gun. This is a totally different team.
Well, I think what he did was he adjusted his game plan to the talent that he had. So he had a team that is not very fast, so he said, let's slow it up, let's work on defense, and that's what this team is all about, the Knicks.
All right, you know, we will look forward to hearing your comments at halftime when you visit with Bob Costas, and thanks for coming down, man.
All right, Marv, you know you're my main man.
All right, thanks, man. Back to you, Marv.
All right, Ahmad, second quarter underway. Hakeem Olajuwon and Patrick Ewing back on the floor. Charles Smith was wide open. Greg Anthony for Charles Smith, and the game is tied at 26. The Knicks 10 of 22, 45% shooting in the first quarter. Houston 11 of 23 for 48%. That helped by Hakeem, who faced the double team and thought he was fouled. Here is Jent, who can shoot. Rebounded by Ewing. Chris Jent, a New Jersey product from Ohio State, where he was a teammate of Jimmy Jackson, now with the Dallas Mavericks. Houston foul signed Chris Jent in mid-April after playing a couple of years in the CBA. Jent called for the foul.
And now the Rockets just 1 for 5 from beyond the arc in this ballgame. They have the small front line in there right now. Jent and Herrera flanking Hakeem Olajuwon, and the Knicks with a big power and strength advantage inside if they go to it, other than Ewing.
Patrick Ewing, 4 for 6 from the field. He has 8 points. Hakeem Olajuwon 5 for 6, 11 points in all. Knicks lead by 2, and a foul is called. That time Olajuwon guarded by Mason, and you can see Ewing and Mason in a discussion. Face-to-face.
Mason had something to say to the official there, and Patrick wanting to keep his composure. The Knicks, a lot of success with Anthony Mason guarding Rich Smith and protecting Ewing with those fouls in Game 7, and Ewing has foul problems now.
Here's Mario Ellie, who just checked in. Herrera. This is what Carl Herrera did against the Knicks in that earlier meeting back in December. He's a quick leaper. Quick leapers bother the Knicks front line. Hubert Davis stepped out of bounds. Houston basketball. The Knicks are now going with Anthony and Davis in the backcourt. Ewing, Smith, Mason up front. Cassell and Ellie are at the guard. Jent is up front, along with Herrera and Olajuwon. 2 minutes gone by in the second. Herrera again.
Well, Patrick Ewing came out and committed himself to try to bother the pass into Olajuwon being fronted by Mason, and Herrera took advantage of the opportunity to drive right through the lane.
Carl Herrera, 3 of 4 from the field. Foul call on Jent.
Foul 21, Chris
Jent, a pushing match with Smith.
Mason trying to use that low base, or I should say it's actually Charles Smith who picked him up this time. And as Ewing tried to prevent that pass, Herrera, the little fake, and the drive to the basket.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for a crisp, clean, classic taste. By the NASDAQ stock market, the stock market for the next 100 years. And by Toyota, who invites you to check out their full line of quality trucks. You just gotta love them.
Welcome back to the Summit in Houston, Texas. New York Knicks coach Pat Riley won 4 NBA titles for the Los Angeles Lakers. As a player, his roots go back to the Rockets franchise, the San Diego Rockets, back in 1967. A look at the draft, some familiar names there. Jimmy Walker of Providence, Earl Monroe taken by the Baltimore Bullets. Here's Pat Riley, the 7th pick in the draft, selected by the San Diego Rockets. A club, Matt, that won 15 and 67. Here's Mason on the follow. Ewing can't hit. Jent dives for it. And it's deflected out. Dick Pavetta with the call, says last touch by the Knicks.
Good job of communicating between officials Joe Crawford and Dick Pavetta. Joe did not have a good look, asked Pavetta for help, and got it as of the loose ball. Jent taking a swat at it, and now, oh boy, hard to tell as it went off the hand of Herrera.
Rockets lead 30-28, 9:20 remaining in the second quarter. Olajuwon now being guarded by Smith. He has received all kinds of looks. Ellie penetrates. Mario Ellie giving the Rockets a 4-point lead. Pat Riley came out. He was also drafted, as Greg Anthony brings the Knicks with him too, also drafted by the Dallas Cowboys as a defensive back, although he had not played football at Kentucky. He did play in high school. He told us that he had a meeting with then Dallas head coach Tom Landry, and he told Landry that he wanted to play quarterback, although they saw him as a defensive back, and Landry pointed out that the starting quarterback was Don Meredith. They had Craig Morton behind him, and a fellow by the name of Roger Staubach was the 3rd string, so Pat went to basketball. Mason with the steal, and here's Anthony ahead of the field. Nice play as he finds Smith, and the Rockets and the Knicks are now tied at 32. Charles Smith with 7 points.
Greg Anthony coming off the Knicks bench to give a lift, hit a nice jump shot, running out quickly as the Knicks continue to look for every chance to get some easy baskets because that half-court offense continues to struggle.
Cassell was fouled on the play. Another look at that beautiful pass.
The outlet pass from Mason all started on what looked like a good pass from Chris Jent, trying to drop off a little bounce pass into Olajuwon, but he was held by Charles Smith and couldn't release to go pick up the ball.
Anthony Mason sitting down. Charles Oakley back. Charles Smith called for that foul. And Sam Cassell on the line for the first time at Florida State. Sam Cassell, the backcourt partner. We're talking football here of one Charlie Ward, the Heisman Trophy winner. And Sam Cassell's stock went up when Mario Ellie suffered the broken hand. Got the playing time and has come on very strong in the playoffs. Rockets 34 and the Knicks 32. Davis and Anthony in the backcourt. Smith, Oakley, Ewing up front. Anthony got the step. And the ball was knocked away. It will be Knicks possession with 14 on the 24.
Well, Greg Anthony has come out and played with a lot of confidence right now. Feels that he can take the ball right to Sam Cassell and beat him to the basket. After he made that jump shot, it has brought Cassell up tighter on him.
Davis. And rebounded by Cassell. Olajuwon in a battle with Smith. Oakley sweeps the rebound. Ewing in a collision went down. Davis had the opening and it was picked up by Ellie. Davis off the fake. Here's Ewing. Rockets back to the offense. They lead by 2. Smith trying to front Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon, 6 of 8 from the field, 13 points in all. Rockets by 4. Anthony cuts it to a 36-34 Houston lead.
Well, it's interesting right now. Charles Smith, who of course came over from the LA Clippers, played a lot of backup center there, so he knows Olajuwon from the Western Conference and defending him.
Cassell got the step, dished it off to Horry. That's the 3. Robert Horry, who goes 6'10", has the 3-point range. And he's hearing it from the crowd as the Rockets now lead by 5. Off the turnover, back comes Cassell. And a traveling violation is called. Now the Rockets call for time with 6:41 remaining in the first half. It's Houston with a 5-point lead.
Well, Sam Cassell coming over in a transition type of play with just that little hesitation, ready to try to pass it. Just held it long enough and committed the violation.
Well, among those on hand here at the summit, Ray Childress of the Houston Oilers. Spike Lee has made the scene, along with Anthony Hardaway, the outstanding rookie with the Orlando Magic, former heavyweight champion of Holyfield, and Warren Moon, one-time Oiler, now member of the Minnesota Vikings, and longtime Knicks fan Richard Lewis. Well, the Rockets lead by 5, 6.5 remaining. In the second quarter, Houston has hit on 5 of its last 6 shots. Mario Ellie did not like that call. Thought his last touch by the Knicks.
Rockets applying a lot of pressure in the backcourt. Oakley forced to try to bring it over as Ellie came up hard. Got a piece of the ball, but also got a piece of Oakley who had some words for Ellie. Officials coming in very quickly to break up the pushing and the talking.
And a double technical called on Oakley and Ellie. No messing around here. Double technical fouls on Oakley and Ellie. Pass not handled by Ewing, a bit too strong from Starks. Here's Herrera. And he was pushed from behind. Herrera leading the break. Foul by Anthony.
Well, the last 2 times that New York has tried to go inside to Patrick Ewing, Olajuwon standing behind, but reaching that right arm in. That's 2 times, knocking the ball loose. The first time he hit Ewing in the face, but this starts a fast break opportunity for the Rockets. They have no fast break points as of yet.
Earl Herrera, the first Venezuelan to play in the NBA. He had been the star of the Venezuelan national team. Played well in the Barcelona Olympics. And in that earlier game at Madison Square Garden against the Knicks, 13 points, 15 rebounds for Carl Herrera. And I think it's a surprise that he's received this kind of playing time. I'm sure Rudy Tomjanovich also affected by what took place in that earlier game, because Carl was a question mark for tonight. He has been saying that he is just about fully healed, although there is still some pain in that right shoulder. Rockets by 5, biggest lead of the game. Oakley gets down low. It's an unusual shot. for Charles Oakley, and the Rockets lead by 3.
That's an uncomfortable position for Charles, but he had excellent position as he covered up Robert Horry, and he likes to flip it up quickly because he always feels that shot's going to get blocked.
Nice dish from Olajuwon. And Herrera with his 4th field goal. Rockets with a 41-36 lead. Hakeem Olajuwon handling the double team to perfection. Found the open man, the cutting Herrera.
That's why teams do not like to double team him, but, you know, pick your poison. Double team Olajuwon or give up cutting shots, cutting to the basket for easy shots or open threes.
Anthony for 3 with the shot clock running down, and Olajuwon on the rebound. We come up on 5 minutes to go, first half. Ellie for Olajuwon. Beautiful move by Hakeem. 7 of 9, 15 points. Rockets lead by 7. Houston has hit 7 of its last 8. Oakley. Anthony able to hustle it down. Starks for 3. Yes. John Starks, who had been hitting the three-pointer late in the series against Indiana after going through some quiet times, connecting on his first from downtown this evening. Rockets 43 and the Knicks 39. Rockets red hot here in the second quarter. Traveling violation is called. So the ball goes back to the Knicks.
Second turnover there for Sam Cassell, trying to get better position to try to throw the ball over the top as Charles Smith was fronting. Charles Smith trying to do his best to either get around in front or push Olajuwon out, but Hakeem feels comfortable in any position up to about 18 feet.
Anthony Mason and Derek Harper checking back in. Olajuwon jumping out at Starks. Ewing not able to handle that pass. Starks saw the opening, but he surprised Ewing. Oakley diving to break it up, and last touch by the Rockets.
Well, that's 3 turnovers that Patrick Ewing was involved in because he just put out one hand. Here, Charles Oakley trying to get around on the top side of Otis Thorpe and forcing that bad pass from Kenny Smith, who had terrible position to make an entry pass to the low post.
8th turnover for the Rockets. Knicks with 7. Just under 4 minutes to go. First half, Harper shooting, and it's rebounded by Thorpe. Vernon Maxwell back on the floor with Kenny Smith. Hakeem Olajuwon up front. Followed to Robert Horry, Otis Thorpe, Olajuwon again. Well, this time Anthony Mason attempting to defend against Hakeem Olajuwon. He's 8 for 10, 17 points. Rockets lead by 6. Starks taking it to the hoop, rejected by Horry. Smith for Maxwell. Maxwell all the way. And the Rockets lead by 8. Starks trying to beat the Rockets down court. Pat Riley wants a timeout. It's a 20-second timeout.
Hakeem getting the ball in the low post this time against Mason. He hesitated a little bit because he was expecting a double team. It didn't come, so he gave the little head fake, the little shake, and the little turnaround jumper. As Hakeem Olajuwon having his way with the New York front line right now.
Coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, folks, we'll talk live with a couple of guys who have lots of experience at the NBA Finals. Bulls coach Phil Jackson, who took Chicago to 3 straight titles before being eliminated by the Knicks this year. He was also a member of the last Knicks title team back in '73. And we'll also speak with Magic Johnson, winner of 5 NBA titles with the Lakers, 3 times the MVP of the Finals. That's coming up at halftime. Right now, back to courtside, and here's Matt Gukas. Matt.
Thank you, Bob. Hakeem Olajuwon posted up down low here. Patrick Ewing coming over for the double team. Nobody for the Knicks protects the basket. Herrera right through the lane as Olajuwon finding the open cutter as the Rockets do such an excellent job of making that dive to the basket and spreading the floor. Olajuwon reads beautifully.
And the Rockets in the midst of an 11-5 run. They've hit their last 6 shots, 9 of 10, shooting 56% for the half, 20 of 36. They lead lead by 8. Ewing got inside. Horry knocked it away and was called for the foul. Horry got a piece of Ewing. That is his first. Let's go to Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad.
All right, Marv, doing a timeout, Pat Riley telling his team, trying to get his team into it emotionally, saying get into the game. He also telling them about defensive pressure, which comes up because on the board, one of the things was dog pressure. They call that dog pressure because he wants everybody all out defensively for the entire game. Marv?
Patrick Ewing making his first appearance at the line. He now has 9 points. Olajuwon having another big one. 17 for Olajuwon. And the outside official, McMadden, saying that Olajuwon stepped in too quickly. It's a lane violation. Another foul shot awarded.
You could call it on either Olajuwon on the left side or Otis Thorpe on the right, as Patrick Ewing has a little hesitation, a little hitch in his free throw, and that happens a lot where the opponents step in the lane.
So Ewing gets the do-over. Rockets 47 and the Knicks 41. 2 minutes 55 seconds to go in this first half. Game 1 of the best of 7 NBA final. Game 2 here at the Summit. Friday night will be on hand, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Olajuwon thought he was fouled. And you hear the reaction. Starks lost it. Maxwell for 3. And batted by Oakley, was just looking to keep it away from Maxwell. Olajuwon. He has been unstoppable. Rockets by 8. 19 for Hakeem Olajuwon. Oakley passing on the open shot. Ewing to the reverse. Nice move. Patrick Ewing has 12 points, and the Rockets have a 6-point advantage.
Excellent play by Patrick Ewing, giving the ball up out of the double team, but not stopping. Kept moving on the play and got excellent position in the lane.
And the ball back to the Knicks. Maxwell lost the dribble. His foot.
Patrick cutting into the lane here. Olajuwon with 2 personal fouls, playing it very cute there, not going for Ewing's fake, and basically giving up that layup so he didn't pick up 3 and have to go to the bench.
Both Ewing and Olajuwon playing with the 2 fouls. Oakley came off the pick. Again, the open shot for Charles Oakley. And he is connected on 5 and a 6 for 10 points.
And the Rockets have pretty much made the decision. They will give him that shot. They want to stay home with John Starks on the other side of the floor and not give him an open look at a 3-pointer.
Eric Harper called for the foul. His first. Eric Harper, one of several players on the Knicks roster from the Western Conference who have had much experience against the Houston Rockets. Rockets attempting to become the first Western Conference team to win the NBA championship since Pat Riley's Lakers did it in 1988. And Hakeem Olajuwon is upset. He thought he was fouled. Kenny Smith picked it off. Thorpe using the screen. Otis Thorpe able to hit him. A technical foul has been called.
Well, now 2 straight times Olajuwon forced by Mason to turn away and take his favorite shot. That little fadeaway jumper on the left baseline. On both plays, Olajuwon felt that he was fouled. The Knicks don't handle the outlet, and the Rockets wind up getting 2 dunks at the other end.
Hakeem Olajuwon continued to complain to Dick Pavetta and then was hit with the technical. John Starks able to convert. You know that Hakeem's complaint was done in very dignified fashion, but the officials don't like to be shown up by the body language.
Yes, when you say, hey, Mr. Pavetta, here's what I think about that call, you're going to get teed up.
But he is not a player who will use obscenities, and he does everything in very gentlemanly fashion. But the officials do not want to have the crowd turned against him by the actions of the player.
And with 1:11 to go in the first half, Rudy makes a wise decision here. Get Hakeem to the sideline so he can compose himself and not pick up a 3rd foul.
Rockets lead 51-46. Just under 1 minute to go in the half. Starks for three. Herrera on the rebound. His outlet nearly picked off. Thorpe not looking that way, but Maxwell was there to save it. Maxwell and Smith in the backcourt. Thorpe, Herrera, and Horry on the front line. Thorpe met by Ewing. Pops it to Horry. Smith for three. Getting Smith from downtown. Rockets by 7. Half minute to go. First half. Hakeem Olajuwon, the high man, with 19. Patrick Ewing leading the Knicks with 12 in this first half. Oakley not able to handle it, and it's last touch by the Knicks. Rockets take over with 16 seconds to go in the half, and both teams have committed 9 turnovers.
Well, some sloppy passing actually by both teams, but when the Rockets do it, they seem to get a break on it. When the Knicks make a careless pass, they pay for it at the other end, generally with a dunk.
Knicks with only 2 offensive rebounds in this first half. That is hurt. Horry off the mark, able to chase it down and pops it as time runs out in this first half. So the Rockets hear the applause from the crowd. Patrick Ewing, 5 out of 8 from the field, 12 points, 4 rebounds. He has 2 personals, as does Hakeem Olajuwon, who was on fire. 9 of 13 for 19 points. He has 2 personal fouls. Bob Costas and the Prudential halftime report coming up after these words.
This is the Prudential Halftime Report. Brought to you by the Prudential. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock.
Halftime at the Summit. The Rockets, after spotting the Knicks an early lead, now up 54-46 in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Bob Costas back and very pleased to be joined by our sometime partner, Magic Johnson. How you doing, Magic?
I'm doing good.
Your thoughts on this first half?
Well, I think that the first quarter, New York had a good pace. It was a slow pace, and I think both teams were tight. Second quarter, they let Houston get out into transition, and that's what hurt them.
It looks to me like Houston is quicker to every loose ball, both because of the rest and because of the fact they're simply a quicker team.
Oh, no question that they're quicker and they're fresher, and they're beating not only to the loose balls, but they also keeping them outside shooting jump shots. Really take that ball inside to Patrick Ewing. I think Charles Smith must do more offensively for the New York Knicks.
Now the Knicks are doing something that teams almost never do. They're single covering Olajuwon.
Well, I think what happens is if you double cover him, he's still going to score. Also, he's going to hit the three-point shooters. So you might as well let him score his points and try to hold everybody else down.
It may work when Ewing is the guy on him, but when Patrick picked up the second foul with about 3.5 minutes to go in the first quarter, then it was Oakley and Mason, and he's able to shoot over them, and the outside touch, so excellent for a big man, really helps Hakeem.
But the problem with trying to defend Hakeem is the fact that he can go outside as well as go inside. So he has the jump shot ability. You can't front him because he can go get the lob. So he's basically unstoppable. So what New York has to try to do is slow the game down, get Houston more into a half-court game. That way you can stifle everybody else.
You coached a little bit this past week yourself. You know Pat Riley's style, even though the personnel is so much different with the Knicks than with your Lakers. What's he saying in the locker room now?
Well, what he's saying is, look, when you take it inside at the defense, you must drop the ball off to the man who left his man. In terms of what's happening now is Hakeem, Horry, they're coming over to block the shots where you got to dump it off to the open man. Plus, I think what they have to do is try to get better shots. You know, they're settling for that long-range jump shot, and Houston will kill him in transition. That's what happened in the second quarter.
A couple of quick questions. One about Riley. You know him well, as I said. Do you think he's bothered by criticisms of the Knicks' style of play?
Oh, yeah, he's bothered by it because he takes everything personal. But, you know, he's still going to do the same thing. He's still going to have them bang, bump, hold, and play good defense. So he's not going to worry about he's going to play his style, no matter what anybody says.
Do you think this is his style, or would he prefer the Showtime style and he's simply going with the personnel?
Well, he would prefer the Showtime with a leader. See, but they don't have a leader to do that. That's his problem.
Are you available?
At the right price, yes.
They got to give you half the club, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely half.
Last thing, your buddy Charles Barkley, the bad back. He really went through a tough season, had to grit his way through it. But can he walk away without a title?
Yes, he can walk away without a title, but he's going to try everything possible in his power not to retire until he gets that title.
Magic, thanks a lot. Always great to see you.
Good to see you, too. It's good to be back.
Okay, a reminder now about Game 2 of the finals. We'll have it for you on Friday night, beginning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And when we come back here to the Summit, we'll be joined live by Bulls coach Phil Jackson after a message from Prudential and a word from the NBA. The Rockets leading the Knicks 54-46, game 1 of the NBA Finals. We're joined now from Chicago by Bulls head coach Phil Jackson. Phil, has the disappointment worn off yet and the realization that it's over? June has come and the Bulls aren't playing.
It has, Bob. We're back here at work, and this is the pre-draft camp that we have in Chicago. That's why I'm in Chicago, and we're on with business.
Let me cut right to the chase. Here's a quote of yours that appeared in the Boston Globe this past weekend, maybe other places. We're talking about the New York Knicks, an organization I was part of for 12 years. Yet the only person in that organization who treats me reasonably is Ernie Grunfeld. He's the GM, and older guys like Dick McGuire. Dave Checketts, the club president, says, I think I invented the game, and I don't want to be a spokesman for the game, but the way the Celtics played, the way the Lakers played, and the way the Bulls played exemplified professionalism in the sport. What accounts for your resentment of the Knicks?
Yeah, I misspoke at that time, Bob, and if there's some things you'd like to take back, that might be one of them. And, you know, I came out of a week, and, you know, Checketts was on the radio here in Chicago kind of saying some things about me personally, and I reacted strongly. And it's something I would take back if possible. I mean, there's so many people in that organization, from Walt Frazier, who does the radio, to Red Holzman, who still works for that club, who I have great fondness for, who always come over and say hi to me and greet me. And, you know, the old brand and the old breed is still there in the garden every time I go in, and they've been very warm and friendly to me. But there has been some animosity between the new breed, and we've been in front of them for the last 3 years, and it's built over the years. And, you know, I want to dispel that and wish them well in the playoffs here. And, you know, we'll see what happens with them in Houston. And it should be interesting.
Some animosity naturally is born of intense competition with so much at stake. But I know that philosophically you have a problem with the way the Knicks approach the game. You want to talk about that?
I just as soon not talk about that. I mean, it's a philosophical problem, and it's something that we're going to see what style of basketball is going to dominate in the NBA. And, you know, we feel kind of like, you know, the style it's meant to dominate, or the way basketball is going to be played, will be the winning basketball kind of game. And it should dominate, and it should be interesting, because these are two different teams, but they both play power basketball, post-up basketball. It should be a contest America should enjoy, with great centers, and it should be a lot of fun for basketball fans all over the world.
Let's talk about your team. Horace Grant, of course, a free agent. Scott Williams, too. Bill Cartwright and John Paxson likely to retire. This could possibly be a huge shakeup for what was a contending team this past year that came close to getting back to the finals.
Well, Bob, you're absolutely right there. It's obvious that if Horace Grant is not able to sign with the Bulls, that we have to rethink our organization. We can patch together another team that'll be competitive with the free agents, and we have some slots open. But it does put in play a lot of rebuilding that this team has to do to be a championship caliber team. We think we're capable of doing it, but, you know, then there's a time of when it is time to rebuild and when it isn't. The staff will be meeting next couple weeks, and we're going to make some long decisions upon that. We're going to sit down and think about it in very critical terms, and it's going to have to be something we deliberate a long time.
Last thing, Phil, recently Michael Jordan's batting average dipped beneath 200. Are you casting an eye toward AA baseball and thinking maybe Michael would be back? Have you spoken with him about it?
Michael called the day after the season, said, you know, what a great series you had, you didn't win, you were the best team, and all the right things that he would say. There was no mention of returning to basketball. I didn't ask him to come back. His decision will be made post-baseball season. we can only hope he does the thing that makes him happy. If he's happy coming back and playing basketball, we'd like to have him back, and that would sure fill a gap that we'd like to fill.
Phil, thanks very much, as always, for being so candid. Good to talk with you.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, Phil Jackson. The Rockets lead it here over the Knicks by 8, and we'll send it back to Marv Albert and Matt Gukas after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the Prudential. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock.
Say, babe, you know what we got to do? 24 minutes of tough defense, baby. Keep them off the boards. Somebody told me they got 2 offensive rebounds. That's good. Let's keep it at that, baby. Let's go out and play some tough defense and get this win, baby. We know what we got to do. 1, 2, 3, Rockets! Let's go!
Well, Vernon Maxwell revving up his Houston Rockets moments ago as they took the court to warm up for the second half. Rockets lead the Knicks by 8 at halftime in Game 1 of this NBA Finals series. And Matt, the Knicks showing all kinds of different looks against Hakeem Olajuwon, who had the 2 excellent games against them during the regular season, and he has done it again tonight. They have not been able to solve Hakeem.
And Pat Riley telling me before the game, not really concerned with how many points Hakeem scores, 35, 40, maybe even 50, as long as the other Rockets didn't get going. He'd much prefer them of the jump shot variety, just like this. The Knicks can live with this, but they don't want to give him easy baskets where he's getting inside and not being challenged and getting easy dunks. And this is what could kill the Knicks, even if the other Rockets don't get involved. But it has been all Hakeem in the first half.
A look at the Miller Genuine Draft halftime statistics. The Knicks at 46%. Rockets with that terrific second quarter, 23 of 43 overall for 53%. And Olajuwon 9 of 13 for 19 points. Off the bench, Rockets have had the advantage. Carl Herrera, who had the strong game against the Knicks at the Garden back in December, 4 of 5 for 8 points, while the Knicks bench has hit only 2 of 10 from the field. Right here, let's go to Hannah Storm, who is alongside Houston coach Rudy Tomjanovich. Hannah.
Thanks, Marv. Coach, they're giving Hakeem Olajuwon a lot of different looks, throwing a lot of different people at him. What are your impressions of the way he's responded, and what do you expect from New York in the second half?
Well, I think he's done okay. I'm real happy with our first half, considering the long layoff. It definitely did affect us. We were rusty early, had some real good looks at the basket, and didn't go at it aggressively. I think we've knocked that rust off. Very happy with our defensive effort, and did a real good job on the boards, only giving up 2 offensive rebounds, and that's their strength.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Marv?
All right, Hannah, as we head to the second half, it's Houston 54 and New York 46.
I'm out of a shot here at the Summit now. At halftime, I just talked to some of the Knicks players. They said during the halftime, Pat Riley stressed defense, said that his team is not contesting, not going after loose balls, and not really getting into the game emotionally. Those were the points he felt like they had to improve. Marv?
Yes, 54 points, a very high total against the Knicks for a half. Houston 54, New York 46, third quarter underway. Derek Harper, John Starks in the backcourt, Charles Smith, Patrick Ewing, and Charles Oakley up front. Here is Oakley, too strong, rebounded by Maxwell. Vernon Maxwell and Kenny Smith at the guards. Hakeem Olajuwon, Otis Thorpe, and Robert Horry on the front line. Both Olajuwon and Ewing playing with 2 fouls. Olajuwon blocked by Ewing, and last touch by Ewing.
And Hakeem is saying that he got hit on the wrist. He's been very happy with the way that he has been defended on this little turnaround jump shot attempt, and it did appear that Patrick Ewing did slap him on the wrist.
One-on-one move now by Olajuwon, getting inside. Rockets had concluded the first half hitting 12 of their last 18, including those desperation 3-pointers by Horry. A minute in to the third quarter. Starks takes advantage of Maxwell, who was looking for the steal, and back comes Smith on the run. Knicks do get back. Maxwell for Horry. Open shot for Horry. Thorpe keeps it alive. Ewing, who stripped him. Oakley knocking it away. It's a leg block, and the Knicks will get the new 24.
Well, the Knicks running baseline screens for John Starks, who's being defended by Maxwell. Does not really keep contact until he gets out of bounds and underneath the basket. Gives him a little shot in the back of the neck. And then when Maxwell tried to go over the top of that screen and ran by the play, it really gave John Starks a wide open look at about a 17-foot jump shot.
Ewing going one-on-one and hits the little flip. He was trying to give it up, could not find anyone. And the Rocket lead is now 6. Patrick Ewing with 14. Easily his most effective game against Olajuwon. Had big problems in the previous two. Did not shoot well. 4 of 20 and 5 of 15. Horry forced it. Smith got a piece of it. Shot clock down to 2. Maxwell fires an air ball, and it's a 24-second violation.
Patrick Ewing waiting for a double team. It doesn't really come, and he sees that he has the step and able to go in the lane. Actually shot that little hook shot off the wrong foot, but both centers having a little bit of a difficult time trying to read when and if that double team is going to come.
Starks with directions to Smith, who was in the path of Ewing, but Ewing was blocked. Maxwell off the dribble. Maxwell, yes, and it counts. Starks called for the foul, applying the shoulder to Maxwell.
Patrick Ewing taking the ball into the lane, feeling his oats a little bit because he got in the other side going left to right. But this time, the best shot blocker in the playoffs, Hakeem Olajuwon, knocking it loose and starting this fast break. And John Starks anticipating a crossover move from Maxwell, which is a good offensive move in the open floor. Didn't get it as Maxwell able to keep it in that hand and take it strong to the basket.
Rockets lead by 8. Harper calling out a play. Ewing setting the pick. Harper for 3. Thorpe with the rebound. The Knicks have not done it on the offensive board, in contrast to what took place in Game 7 Sunday against the Indiana Pacers. Olajuwon facing a double team, lost it. Pass picked off by Smith. Starks for 3. Yes. John Starks with his second from downtown. And the Rocket lead is now 5.
A couple of outstanding defensive plays by Charles Smith. A block shot a few trips ago, which forced a 24-second turnover, and then stepping into the passing lane to come up with that steal.
Foul on Harper. Called for the hand check. A heavy hand check on Smith.
This out of a fast break opportunity as John Starks goes spotting up behind the line for his third three-point shot as he is looking over to the, his second three-point shot. He's keeping count, I guess.
Olajuwon lost it again. Bad play. Starks picked it off, and Starks had it knocked away from behind, but the Knicks, well, one official said Knick ball, another said Houston ball. Rudy Tomjanovich is willing to settle for the jump ball, which means that he felt it was last touched by the Rockets.
And John Starks did not run out of his shoes. Actually, somebody stepping from behind here on the back of his heel as Robert Horry clipped him on the back of the heel to knock that sneaker off. As John Starks trying to go on this fast break opportunity, Robert Horry gets a big chunk of the foot of John Starks and the rest of his sneaker to knock it off.
22nd timeout was called right before the start of this series. John Starks saying we've yet to play our best basketball. The pressure was on us just to get to the finals. The championship to us is going to be a breeze. And then he quickly tried to pull that back because he said he did not mean that playing the Rockets will be a breeze. It's just that there was so much pressure he felt on the Knicks to get by first Chicago and then get by Indiana after they were down 3-2 and in big trouble against the Pacers. So he felt in terms of what is swirling around would be a breeze. Maxwell gets to the rebound.
But the Rockets, of course, used it and put the spin on it and took it the other way, looking for anything to put up on their bulletin board.
Rockets 56 and the Knicks 51. We're early third quarter. Horry Ewing with the step. Gave it back to Olajuwon, and another turnover. It's called for a travel. Hakeem has had a difficult time in this third quarter.
And he's showing the frustration right now to his teammates, unhappy with some of the passes he's getting and the spacing.
Harper able to penetrate. The Knicks were able to do this on several occasions against the Pacers. Starks and Harper did it early in the series against Chicago.
And that frustration by Hakeem, and he kind of put his head down, didn't get back defensively, and close up the lane, which he normally does.
Rocket leaders now 3. Rockets having difficult time with the offense now, not getting good shots. Thorpe with the offensive rebound. Smith for 3. Rebound, Horry. Olajuwon. 3 opportunities for the Rockets, and they lead 58-53. Houston on the offensive boards with a 10-2 advantage. Smith posting up. Oakley again given the jump shot. And Charles Oakley is now 6 of 8 from the field. Rudy Tomjanovich is upset with his ball play. Oakley has 12. Hitting open shots right throughout. The Knicks are within 3.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, less filling. Can your beer do this? By Speed. Get ready for Rush Hour, the new action film from 20th Century Fox, now playing at theaters everywhere. And by Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right.
This is a season that saw both the Houston Rockets and the New York Knicks compile 15-game win streaks, the longest of the season. A Houston team that tied the NBA record for most consecutive wins to start a season. Remember, they opened at 15-0, tying the record held by the 1948-49 Washington Capitals, coached by Red Auerbach. Rockets began at 15-0, extended to 22-1, knocked off in Atlanta to end that 15 straight win streak. The Knicks 15-game win streak came after a 4-game losing streak and a trip to Reno, Nevada to shake things up. Olajuwon is fouled by Oakley. Pat Riley also shuffled the starting lineup. He just looked to take his team away going into a game against the Kings in Sacramento and redirected the flight to Reno.
Storm telling us during that last time out that Rudy Tomjanovich talked to his team about the turnovers in their half-court offense. The Rockets pride themselves on their spacing. It has not been good in the early moments here of the third quarter. They've already got 4 turnovers. They had 9 in the first half.
Olajuwon is 10 of 16 from the field, 3 for 3 from the line, 23 points to lead the way. Rockets by 5, off the pressure. Oakley able to preserve that pass. Smith had a notion. Crowd wanted to travel. Oakley setting the pick. Starks with the step. Ewing. Oakley keeps it alive. Ewing with the tip. Olajuwon gets to it. But the Knicks did show some agility off the offensive boards. Maxwell rebounded by Starks. Starks on the run. Starks all the way. He challenged Olajuwon. Rockets 60. The Knicks 55. Olajuwon. Rebound Oakley. And the loose ball foul is called on Thorpe.
Well, the Knicks with only 2 offensive rebounds in that first half, making a concerted effort this time as Oakley keeps it alive a few times. It looked like Patrick Ewing had good control to put it in. Couldn't get it to fall, but Pat Riley had to be much happier with that kind of effort.
New York ball. They are down by 5 points. Ewing setting the pick. Starks changed his mind. Harper for Starks. Has the three-pointer set up. And again, the Knicks get to it.
A hustle by Charles Smith to keep that alive. The whole Houston defense is getting sucked all the way back into the lane. That's why these guys are open for the threes.
But Harper not able to hit. Look out. Olajuwon holding his hip. Shake it up, but he's all right. Ewing charged with his third foul.
Well, long shots mean long rebounds. This one goes all the way out to the free throw line area, and a hard hit on the hip of Hakeem Olajuwon as he shows that look on his face, and his teammates quickly come to his aid. They know what he means to this franchise and to this finals.
Rockets have hit only 2 of 11 here in the third. That's a three. Robert Horry. Robert Horry has 9 points. Rockets lead by 8. Just under 5 minutes to go in the third. Ewing got position, and he drew the foul. A hacking call on Olajuwon, so he has 3 personal.
Now the Knicks slow getting into this play, but they finally get it as Starks comes off nicely. It's good position and a good pass to Ewing. The little pump fake just to get Olajuwon a little bit off balance. Patrick jumped into him, and good offensive players will get that call when they initiate the contact. Olajuwon felt that he was going to have the call go the other way. He felt that Joe Crawford was going to call a charge, as Patrick Ewing keeping his eye and intent on the officials, making sure that call went in his favor.
And keeping his eye on the ball as it glanced off just above the left eye. Good hustle by Oakley. Did not like the hand check of Horry. Rockets by 7. 4:40 remaining in the third. Starks line drives it. Ewing with the rebound. Last touched by the Rockets. Patrick Ewing coming off the game Sunday night against Indiana. A career performance. 24 points, 22 rebounds, 5 block shots, 7 assists. Ewing make it 9 straight shots missed by the Knicks.
Well, the Knicks starting to do a job on the offensive board and get many extra shots, but when you can't put the ball in the basket, it really doesn't matter that much.
Horry for 3. And Ewing sweeps it. Well, we have seen the Knicks during the course of the playoffs, during the regular season, go through spurts like this. Charles Smith banks it home, and that ends the 0 for 9. Rockets 63. The Knicks 58. Neither club shooting well here in the third. Marv Albert, Matt Kukas, Bob Costas, Ahmad Rashad, Hannah Storm from the Summit in Houston. Olajuwon. It's tipped home by Thorpe. That's his third field goal. He has 7. Again, Olajuwon hit the floor. He's taken a pounding here in the third quarter.
Charles Oakley furious with Charles Smith for gambling on that play. Opened up the lane, and that's why they got the second shot opportunity. But Charles Smith has done some good things for the Knicks in this third quarter.
Olajuwon with the box out. Smith on the run. Thorpe. It's an offensive foul. It's called a charge.
Transition play, Otis Thorpe making up his mind exactly what he was going to do, and Charles Oakley read it, looked into his eyes, saw where he was going, and stepped right in his path to take that charge.
That's 3 on Thorpe, who comes hobbling to the sideline. 3:12 to go in the third. Rockets by 7.
Hakeem Olajuwon with inside rebounding position on Charles Smith. Gets this rebound, throws the outlet, and look at the fatigue look on his body and face. And Pat Riley sensed it. Ahmad Rashad in the Knicks huddle, hearing Pat Riley tell his team, we've got them on the run a little bit. They look very tired. He wants his team to take their time at the offensive end, but still take those fast break chances and continue to hammer that offensive board.
And Hakeem will sit down. 23 points, 8 rebounds. We come up on 3 minutes remaining in the third. Rockets by 7. Neither club shooting well in the third. Ewing only 1 for 7 in this third quarter. Patrick Ewing with 17 points. The Knicks 6 of 21 from the field in the third. The Rockets are 4 of 15, and the Rocket lead is now 5. Sam Cassell for Otis Thorpe, who hobbled off to that timeout, but apparently is all right. Thorpe gets inside. Rockets lead 67-60.
Carol Dawson, the assistant coach of the Rockets, telling me yesterday that Hakeem Olajuwon recovers from fatigue faster than anybody he has ever seen, but maybe some of that 7-day layoff is showing signs with a lack of conditioning because you can't duplicate it in practice.
Rockets have not played since May the 31st. Long layoff since they wrapped up the series against Utah. Cassell on a pull-up. Beautiful stroke by Sam Cassell. It's a second field goal. He has 6. And the Rockets with their biggest lead of the game. A margin of 9. This time Horry played Oakley. Did not give him the shot. Smith faced the double team. Starks for 3. Ewing to the boards. And could not hold on. Let's go to Hannah Storm.
Talked to Rockets trainer Ray Melchiori, and he did confirm that Hakeem Olajuwon is tired. He did bruise that right hip that he fell on just a few moments ago earlier in the season. That is a little bit sore as well. And as far as Otis Thorpe, well, he got his knee banged up, but as you can see, he's fine to play the game, although he is in a little bit of pain. Marv?
I had a Sam Cassell now in a heated discussion with Otis Thorpe. Cassell said, "My fault," regarding that bad shot. But his teammates were not accepting that apology.
Well, he was absolutely correct. He took a wild shot there. His strongest asset is his ability to penetrate and get in the lane. But right now, he cannot get by Derek Harper.
1:05 remaining in the third. John Starks accelerating. He's only 3 of 14. Horry could not hold on. And it will be Nick Boyd. Now Charles Oakley trying to settle down John Starks. We have 2 very emotional ball players. Both the Knicks and the Rockets do discuss things in full view. And Smith's pass deflected short, and a foul is called on Oakley.
Foul is called on New York 34.
For Charles Oakley, his 3rd.
John Starks is coming off the screen, and as he tries to break through, he gets tripped up as Maxwell catches him on the back of the leg and throws him to the floor, and the lazy pinbound pass by Charles Smith, as I think he anticipated Charles Oakley to come to the ball and threw it to nobody in particular, and Oakley the foul to try to stop the fast break.
Otis Thorpe has hit 2 out of 3 from the foul line. The Rockets have opened a 10-point lead. Very impressive stat line for Otis Thorpe. The Rockets lead 71-60, and right now they're doing it with Hakeem Olajuwon on the bench. Crowd looking to rev up the Rockets. They are on their feet here at the Summit. Oakley from deep. And a foul is called. A loose ball foul against Houston. It's on Horry. That is his 2nd.
Foul has been called on number 7, Carl Herrera.
Well, now they changed the foul. It's Herrera rather than Horry. And Herrera called again. Both teams are over the foul limit. That's number 3 on Herrera. John Starks about to be replaced by Hubert Davis. Difficult 24 hours for John Starks. Missed practice yesterday to return home to Tulsa, Oklahoma to attend his uncle's funeral. Upset with himself. He is not shot well. He's missed his last 6.
And he continued to have words with Charles Oakley and just did not want to hear anything. He would be coming out normally now anyway for a rest, plus the fact that he has been missing shots. Hubert Davis into the ballgame, but John has to try to collect himself right now, because if the Knicks are to come back in this 4th quarter, he's going to have to be a big part of it.
Very poor shooting in the 3rd. The Knicks 6 for 25. The Rockets 6 of 18, but the Rockets have been able to build that lead. They're up by 10. Thorpe in a collision with Oakley, and it's called a block on Oakley. Did not have position, and he picks up his 4th.
And no complaint really there by Charles Oakley or Pat Riley, as you have have to give an offensive player a chance to catch the ball and come down, and Oakley basically standing under the spot of Otis Thorpe, and a good call by the officials.
Charles Oakley with his 4th foul. John Starks trying to report back. A little premature move there by John. He stepped onto the court without going to the scorer's table and was waved aside by the official, Dick Bavetta. Now being allowed to check in. And the Knicks now with a combination of Starks, Davis, and Harper. They go to a 3-guard alignment along with Mason and Smith. Paul Herrera hears it from the crowd. He has provided a lift. 8 points off the bench. Ellie checking back in. Rockets 72, the Knicks 61. 20 seconds left in the 3rd. Game 1 of this best of 7 NBA Final Series. Harper working the clock down. Down to 10. Harper guarded by Cassell. Down to 5. Smith. Charles Smith not able to hit. And a loose ball foul against the Rockets with 9/10 of a second remaining 3rd quarter.
Well, the Knicks getting a reasonably good shot with the shot clock winding down to end this 3rd quarter, but the Knicks a much better job in this 3rd quarter of getting to the offensive boards. Only 2 in the whole 1st half, and that time Anthony Mason anticipating where that shot would come off. Terrific inside position.
Foul on Thorpe, his 4th. Mason to the line. He is 1 out of 2 from the line. Anthony Mason has had a renaissance in the playoffs. Earlier this season, bothered by nagging injuries, in and out of the lineup. Strong game in the windup against the Pacers on Sunday. 12 points, 10 rebounds. Game 6 against Indiana, turned it over 9 times. And then in Game 7, he played 39 minutes, committed only 2 turnovers. But Pat Riley telling us they were happy that he was able to push the ball up court. A little sloppy, though. Here's Herrera firing it as this 3rd quarter comes to an end. Now, this is more like a New York Knicks-style basketball game. 3rd quarter scoring, Houston 18 and New York 17. Otis Thorpe, big factor in the 3rd. 12 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists for the game. After 3, Rockets lead 72-63. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
This copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
It has been a hot and humid day right throughout here in Houston. Temperature in the 90s. Capacity crowd better than 16,000 at the Summit in Houston, Texas. Marv Albert with Matt Gukas as we get set for the 4th quarter. Houston with only 18 points in the 3rd. New York with only 17. Rockets lead by 9. Patrick Ewing and Hakeem Olajuwon back on the floor. Olajuwon looking fatigued when he departed after picking up his 3rd foul. He has 23 points and 8 rebounds. Ewing 17 points and 8 rebounds. Cassell and Maxwell in the backcourt. Olajuwon up front with Ellie and Herrera. Single coverage now on Olajuwon. Here's the help from Harper. And Hakeem throwing up the air ball.
Really intimidated by the defense of Patrick Ewing there, and Patrick didn't even have his hand up. Pat Riley called for 3 straight stops to start this 4th quarter. He just got 1 of them.
Harper on the ball fake, setting up Ewing. And the poor shooting at both ends continues. Nice pass from Cassell. Maxwell was rocked by Davis.
No double team on Hakeem Olajuwon down on that right box. A little bit confused by it, a little bit uncertain. There are 3 guards for each team out on the floor, keeping the floor spread, so lots of room to operate. But Patrick Ewing takes that first move away from him with that little bump, forces him back to the jump hook, and Hakeem put up the air ball.
Well, Vernon Maxwell, who had promised to quiet down, was just hit with a technical foul.
I'm sure he took exception to the hard foul that time by Hubert Davis as he went into the basket, probably asking for some kind of a flagrant foul. But for the most part, Maxwell has kept himself under control. He realizes how important he is to this team. He told us yesterday he is the emotional leader, and we heard him at halftime expressing himself to the rest of the team. It's a little bit scary. He's your emotional leader, but I think his teammates respect some of the things that he can do for the ball club.
At his 10th technical foul of the playoffs. Vernon Maxwell. Meanwhile, what is happening here? Back behind the first row of seats, a fan is being removed. Jack Madden apparently upset. We'll check it out for you. This is not something that we see very frequently. This year we have seen some radio announcers asked to leave. Oh, apparently the fan was taunting Jack Madden right throughout the game. And he has been ejected. A minute gone by in the fourth quarter, and the Rockets lead 73-63.
Can he be the only one? I guess you can't throw 15,000 people out.
I would think it was a heavy barrage. We'll try to check it out for you. Meanwhile, the Knicks, with a heavy barrage of misses, they have not been able to hit 18 of the last 20 shots. Mason called for the foul. Rockets leading 73-63. The subject of Vernon Maxwell. He actually plays better when he's emotionally charged, but the Rockets would like to see him cut down on the technicals. Olajuwon will go to the line. Hakeem taking the hit from Ewing. Patrick Ewing with his fourth.
Well, this is the problem that you run into when you try to cover this man on a one-on-one situation. He has so many different ways to hurt you. Primarily facing up at the basket. He can put the ball on the floor, make that little pivot, spin away from you, move in for the jump hook, and all those body and head fakes. He can get the defender up in the air. We just saw that little reverse kick there. Of course, the soccer player in Nigeria, handball, volleyball, tremendous athlete, did not take up basketball until he was 17 years old.
Yes, he prefers soccer and team handball. His parents initially discouraged him from taking part in athletics, but his older brother talked them into changing their mind, and he went to team handball and soccer. And a foul is called.
Foul is called on Houston's number 7, Herrera.
It's Herrera picking up his fourth. This is the biggest lead of the night for the Rockets. They're up by 12. Ewing putting the move on Olajuwon. A strong move by Patrick Ewing. 19 for Ewing. Rockets 75. The Knicks 65. Olajuwon facing the double team. Harper came over, actually a light double team. And Dick Pavetta with the call that it was not deflected by the Knicks. It was Olajuwon all the way on that shot.
Good defensive job by Patrick Ewing, but it certainly appeared that he did get a piece of the ball, and he did. And that's why that shot was way off as the Knicks continue to force Olajuwon to really what is his pet move, but they have been stopping him either with fouls or deflections.
I would think Hakeem is saying I couldn't shoot that off target without it being deflected. Here Starks for three. Cassell on the rebound. John Starks 0 for his last 7 and 3 for 15 for the game. Olajuwon. Ewing playing with 4. He was able to hang it against the Pacers, although in foul trouble on Sunday. Maxwell, Mason with the rebound, and Anthony taken down by Cassell. Intended for Greg Anthony. Sam Cassell called for his first. Timeout called with 9:25 to go in the
fourth. Miller Genuine Draft presents Genuine Moments.
Tonight's Miller moment goes back 8 years to the day. Rockets and Celtics, Game 6 of the 1986 Finals. Larry Bird putting the finishing touches on the series. Bird with 29 points, 11 rebounds, 12 assists for a triple-double. Celtics beat the Rockets 114-97. The Rockets were eliminated 4 games to 2. The Celtics winning their 16th NBA title. In recognition of this moment, Miller Genuine Draft will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. A moment ago, we checked with the official, Jack Madden, as to the reason the fan was thrown out a moment ago. He said over-abusive in terms of his language. I asked Jack, has he ever thrown out a fan before? He said, no question. That was not the first. Ten-point lead for the Rockets. Both teams dropping off considerably in the second half. Beautiful pick and roll. Herrera converts.
And normally the Knicks eat that up. They normally trap that very hard and rotate, but Herrera able to sneak in there. The Knicks desperately looking for some kind of a hot hand other than Patrick Ewing.
Davis. Hubert Davis was fouled.
Keep an eye on Carl Herrera. He's going to shuffle his feet here. A little hop, step, and a jump. Got away with a walk, but able to split the front line defense of the Knicks and get in for that little layup. And I think when Carl Herrera went into the game early in the first half, I think Rudy was just kind of taking a look at him to see what kind of condition he's in. He's had a very good week of practice. He's been out for 3 weeks with that dislocated shoulder, but he played so well that he has gotten extended minutes, and he has been productive.
Herrera 5 of 6, 10 points. Hubert Davis with his first point. They touched on the 1986 Finals a moment ago. Hakeem Olajuwon, the only current Rocket to play in that series. 1 trip to the Finals for Hakeem in his second year in the league. Traveling violation is called.
Well, the Knicks point guards, Derek Harper and Greg Anthony, continue to do a good job on Sam Cassell, keeping him from penetrating into the lane. When he breaks the defense down, he can create a lot of shots for people. He makes that little good dish off to Olajuwon or kick out to the open shooter.
It's going with Anthony and Davis in the backcourt. Crowd wanted to travel on Ewing. Oakley with the offensive rebound. Anthony passed on the 3. Ewing rushed the shot. Lots of time on the 24. And a foul against the Rockets. Oakley hitting the floor. Charles Oakley playing with the tender left ankle. And was pushed down. Fouled by Ellie.
As Patrick Ewing maybe getting away with a step. I don't know. I think he got that pivot foot down as he splits the double team before it comes down. If you don't get down on these big guys, once they get into their move, generally they can draw a foul in that situation, but Ewing too quick for the double team.
The Knicks have hit only 1 of their last 13 shots, trailing by 10 points. Ewing. Knicks not getting good shots.
Well, when Patrick has gotten the ball inside, he draws that double team, and then they have gotten good shots. But right now, he is spending too much time on the perimeter looking for the jump shot. The Knicks should be thinking about trying to take the ball to the basket after the ball comes out of the double team from Patrick Ewing, because they just cannot make a jump shot right now.
Hubert Davis called for the foul. His second. Rockets doing an excellent job defensively. This is a Houston team that has come a long way on the defensive end. 2 years ago, they allowed 104 points per game. Last season, 99 points per game. This year, one of the top defensive teams in the NBA. Davis for Ewing. Ewing being played by Herrera and Olajuwon to block that pass attempt. Rockets allowed just under 97 points per game, 5th in the league this season. Shot clock at 8. Ewing, Olajuwon got a piece of it. Again, Oakley on the rebound. Anthony So the Knicks finally hit. They were 1 for the last 15.
And they continue to take those perimeter jumpers. Now, when Hakeem Olajuwon is in the lane, you're not going to get too much going to the basket. But at this point, you've got to challenge him, get him up in the air, and dish off to an open man inside.
Oakley went down on the fake by Horry. Horry picked up by Mason. And a timeout was called. Horry in trouble, 5 on the shot clock, and called for time with 6 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the third.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Nike, who encourages you to participate in the lives of America's youth. By Goodyear, #1 in tires. And by the all-new Ford Windstar. The future of minivans begins today.
Welcome back to the Summit in Houston. There's the president of the Houston Rockets, Leslie Alexander, who was a season ticket holder at Madison Square Garden. He's a New Yorker, or a one-time New Yorker. A season ticket holder at the Garden when the Knicks won the NBA championship back in the 69-70 season. Bought the Rockets from Charlie Thomas last July and has certainly enjoyed this season.
Timing is perfect.
6:40 to go in the fourth quarter. The Rockets lead by 8. Shot clock running down. They had to fling it. Well, Pat Riley going with Greg Anthony at the point guard position. Hubert Davis at the shooting guard. Up front, Patrick Ewing, Anthony Mason, and Charles Oakley. Knicks not able to generate offense. Here's Mason for Ewing. So Patrick Ewing now with 21 points. The Knicks able to hang around despite the poor shooting.
Well, good things happen for the Knicks when they get the ball inside to somebody, whether it's Charles Smith, Mason, or Ewing, because when the double team comes, they'll get an open shot.
Ellie's pass picked off by Ewing. Nice ball movement. Oakley. At his vision block, Horry ran right at him.
Well, even though they didn't get the field goal, they got a good shot in rhythm once again because the ball went inside. Pat Riley was concerned that the three-point shot would hurt him. The Rockets only 4 for 16, but the reason they're ahead in this ballgame doing an excellent job on the backboard.
Shot clock at 5. Olajuwon on the spin. And he was fouled. Will the basket count? No, it will not. It was before the shot attempt, but that was number 5 on Ewing.
Well, the plan coming in was to play Olajuwon one-on-one, put pressure on the ball on the outside, and front him as much as possible. The Knicks have gotten a few breaks on it, but look at this quick spin move by the athletic and graceful Olajuwon, and the only reason he could not get that field goal because of the shove out of bounds by Patrick Ewing as he picks up his 5th.
Olajuwon 6 of 6 from the line. And apparently Pat Riley will stay with Patrick Ewing. He was able to get away with it in the game on Sunday against Indiana. Now 5:19 remaining in the fourth. Ewing playing with the 5. The Rockets 79 and the Knicks 71. Olajuwon has only 3 fouls. Davis guarded by Maxwell, who's an excellent defender. Hubert Davis has been off.
Now Hubert trying to get the ball inside to Patrick Ewing, picked his dribble up before he got into better passing position.
Olajuwon now played by Mason. Ewing drifting around, guarding Thorpe outside. Mason broke it up. Ewing, yes. Rockets 79, the Knicks 73.
And the fronting of Olajuwon has been effective the last couple of trips. That time it was Mason to break up the pass and start a New York Knicks fast break.
Rockets with 18 turnovers. That has really hurt them. 4:20 to go in the fourth. The Knicks with 11 turnovers. Horry going to the left hand, and he was fouled by Mason. Nice move by Robert Horry going baseline and drew the foul.
Well, he has a very quick first step. It really has nowhere to go as Anthony Mason steps down. But Mason, probably a half a second too late, did not establish that position. And Horry gets the call. Will go to the free throw line.
Robert Horry, #1 draft pick last year out of Alabama, had a solid rookie season, averaged 10 points per game. Rockets wanted him to shoot more. He has become more aggressive. Been an odd season for Robert Horry because he was all but traded to the Detroit Pistons. The deal rescinded, the deal involving Sean Elliott, because Sean Elliott did not pass the physical. And Horry had to come back, handled it very well, and has played even better since his return.
And one of the reasons why he handled it so well was the way Rudy Tomjanovich handled it before or as he was being traded to Detroit, the way that he talked to him and explained why the deal was being made, so it made the comeback a lot easier.
However, Horry 1 of 4 from the line, and the Knicks are down by only 6. Ewing facing the double team, and Smith broke up the pass. Ewing was trying to get it out. Smith was right there. Rockets have led by as many as 12. Now lead by 6. Maxwell on the crossover. Bad shot by Vernon Maxwell. Mason puts the move on Thorpe. Rebound Thorpe. Otis Thorpe with his 14th rebound.
Charles Oakley working extremely hard on the offensive boards. Couldn't come away with one there, but Patrick Ewing was about 28 feet away from the basket on that particular shot by Mason. And it looks like the only way the Knicks can get back in this game is climb on the glass.
Smith with 1 on the 24. Just did get a piece of the rim. Knicks on the run. Davis pulls it up. Tried the 3. Rebound Mason. Mason to the reverse. And the foul. Strong move by Anthony Mason. And he will go to the line. That is his first field goal.
And the reason the Knicks are so close is because all of these offensive rebounds. But Mason, with the pump fakes, felt Olajuwon around him, but used that big, wide frame to hold off Olajuwon and get that little flip hook over him.
As we discussed at the start of the telecast, one of the key matchups throughout this series, and certainly one of the entertaining matchups, will pit John Starks and Vernon Maxwell, but neither doing it to this point. 3 of 16 for Starks. 4 of 16 for Maxwell. Very low scoring second half. And in this fourth quarter, the Knicks with only 12 points and the Rockets with only 7. Rockets with a 79-75 lead with 2:53 to go in the fourth. So for the second half, the Knicks with 29 points and the Rockets with 25. This after the Rockets were able to score 54 in that first half.
Well, Vernon Maxwell and John Starks virtually canceling each other out at the offensive end. Neither one shooting particularly well, but we pointed out at the beginning how important it was for them both to keep their composure. Maxwell has a technical in the game, and John Starks has been really frustrated and arguing with his teammates for much of the night.
Mason way off on that free throw. The ball goes back to the Rockets. Olajuwon was called for the foul that put Mason at the line for the potential three-point play. So Olajuwon has 4. Ewing has 5. A poor shooting second half. Rockets led by as many as 12. Now clinging to a 4-point lead. Maxwell for Olajuwon. Again played by Mason. Olajuwon. Mason with the save. 9 rebounds for Mason. This now is the Knicks type of game. Grinding it out. Low scoring. Starks on the drive. Tried the reverse, and a pushing foul is called. John Starks will go to the line. Hakeem Olajuwon hit with his 5th.
A nice bounce pass by Anthony to lead John Starks to the basket, and John trying to take it to the other side of the rim to protect that shot from getting blocked. Initiated the contact as he kind of backed into Olajuwon, but nevertheless the foul on Hakeem.
Starks 2 of 3 from the line, a 75% free throw shooter. Both teams are over the limit. Look at the foul rundown.
The Knicks have been mixing up their coverage on Olajuwon all night long. Mason guarding him now, mainly because Patrick Ewing has those 5 personal.
The Rocket lead is only 3. Houston with only 8 points the last 10 minutes and 45 seconds. We come up on 2 minutes to go. Smith with a beautiful move, but got glass. Rebound Thorpe. The officials check with each other, and it has ruled Nick Ball. Last touch by the Rockets.
I actually thought Kenny Smith missed that shot on purpose to the right side of the rim because he saw that Thorpe had that inside offensive rebounding position, but Thorpe couldn't hold on to it.
Starks for 3. Was it deflected? No, says Jack Mack. It is an air ball for Starks. And Houston gets it back. A minute 35 remaining. The Knicks with a 13-4 run, but they have not been piling up the field goals. Shot clock at 8. And Mason using too much pressure, call for the foul. Hard hand check ruled on Mason. That is his 5th. And Olajuwon will go to the line.
Hakeem shooting 77% during the playoffs. Shooting it very well here as there's been a lot of pushing, a lot of shoving, and a lot of fronting. And the reason Mason is upset, and he's got it right there, just a little touch foul sends Olajuwon to the line. John Starks continues to struggle. That last shot he took was a wild one, forced too soon, but Pat Riley trying to show that he has confidence in John, leaving him in there to see if he can help pull this one out for the Knicks.
Well, Olajuwon hit his first 8 at the line. Houston players trying to get the crowd going. Horry and Maxwell waving their hands. Bad pass. It will be Houston ball. Anthony and Starks not able to hook up on that exchange.
Miscommunication on this pass as the pressure from Kenny Smith had a lot to do with it, and also Maxwell hounding Starks coming out to the wing.
Smith with a nice feed for Thorpe. That time Kenny Smith looking to his right for Otis Thorpe, went with the ball fake. Big bucket for the Rockets, who now lead 82-76. A minute 2 to go in the 4th, and the Knicks call for time.
Kenny Smith on the penetration always has his eye out on the weak side for Otis Thorpe. This time he finds him.
New York area product, Kenny Smith with a huge play. Kenny Smith out of Archbishop Malloy High School in Jamaica, Queens. The New York Knicks, his favorite team as a youngster, spent much time watching the Knicks of the early 70s at the Garden, coming up with what could be the play of the game right there. The Knicks certainly accustomed to having games like this. They are not a good shooting ball club. You can see through the playoffs that they've had a number of low moments. And in this 4th quarter, the Knicks 5 of 19. Houston only 2 of 12, but the Knicks in the second half, 11 for 45, 24%. And the Rockets 8 of 30. Hubert Davis with his first field goal. Rockets now lead 82-78, just under 1 minute to go in the 4th. The Knicks have outscored Houston only 15-10 here in the 4th quarter, able to cut into that 12-point lead. Rockets now trying to hold on. 45 seconds, 10 on the shot clock. Horry from three-point land, from way out. And back comes Starks. 35 seconds to go. Knicks working it around. Here's Ewing for 3. And it's rebounded by Horry. We are down to 20 seconds as the Knicks get the foul. Clock stopped at 21.1. Starks call for the foul.
Well, believe it or not, Patrick Ewing in the playoffs 3 for 6 from beyond the arc. got this one halfway down and spun out on him, and actually plenty of time left in this fourth quarter. The Knicks didn't necessarily need the three. They had the floor spread, and Ewing did get an open look, but a two-pointer would have been just as good. Interesting to see how the Rockets are finishing with their starting guards, Kenny Smith and Maxwell. Maxwell would normally be a finisher, but Kenny Smith, it's a sometime kind of thing. It's been Sam Cassell in many of these playoff games, as Rudy Tomjanovich has shown a lot of confidence in him.
Maxwell only 2 out of 5 from the line. Knicks take a timeout. Rockets by 5 with 20 and 2:10 seconds to go in the fourth. Folks, it has not been pretty in the second half. The record for the playoffs, fewest points in a quarter by both teams in a finals game. 1955, the Syracuse Nats, Fort Wayne Pistons combined for 29 points. Fourth quarter tonight, the Knicks and the Rockets have combined for only 26. The Knicks with 15, the Rockets with 11 here in the fourth. The Knicks came within 3. It was 79-76. Had an opportunity, and they cut into that 12-point deficit. Knicks have 1 timeout left. Rockets 3 to 20. Knicks down by 5. Ewing trying to set up for the 3, but can't find it. Starks way off. Down to 10 seconds. Olajuwon gets the grip on it. And Cassell is fouled by Davis with 7 and 4/10 seconds remaining.
Well, the Knicks coming out pretty much making the statement that they were going to take a 3-point shot there. John Starks, who has struggled from the field all night long, trying to draw the foul, never really got a clean look at the basket. And the poor shooting, the poor execution, and a big reason for all of that and the low scoring in this second half. And you have to give a lot of credit to both defenses. Both of these teams played very hard. Both teams looked very, very tired for different reasons. The layoff for Houston, I'm sure, had something to do with it. And the Knicks coming off the draining 7-game series against Indiana and the 7-game series against Chicago. It has not been pretty, but both teams have something to build on and go to game 2 with.
The Knicks managing only 8 field goals the final 19 minutes. And they call for time with 7 and 4/10 seconds remaining. The Rockets with a 7-point lead on the way to a victory in game number 1. Game 2 coming up here on Friday night at the Summit. And we'll have it for you starting at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Games 3 and 4 will be played on Sunday night and then next Wednesday night at Madison Square Garden in New York. John Starks in deep thought, 3 of 18, missed his last 10. This after playing so well in the final games of the series against the Indiana Pacers.
And when I said that the Knicks have something to build on, I'm sure they'll talk about after this game and tomorrow the fact that just a couple of minutes ago they were only trailing by 3, 79-76. Their goal was to not necessarily care so much about what Olajuwon scored, but holding down the other people. They did not get hurt with the 3-pointer, so the idea is come out the next game, increase the pressure defensively, get either their running game going or their offensive rebound game going much sooner.
Well, Patrick Ewing, 10 of 25, 23 points, 9 rebounds. Hakeem Olajuwon got off to the good start and then went through that sequence where he committed 3 straight turnovers. Seemed to be fatigued, was taken out. Both have had their foul difficulties. And Hakeem with 28 points in all, but still a solid game, 10 of 22 from the field. Both the Knicks and Rockets on their way in the direction of the dubious distinction for NBA Finals play of fewest points in a quarter and fewest points in a half. They've combined for 28 points in the fourth quarter, only 63 points in the second half. Ewing from 3-point land, and time has run out on the New York Knicks. The Houston Rockets defeating the Knicks 85-78. As we said, it was not pretty basketball in the second half, in particular in the fourth quarter. But the Rockets take game number 1. Again, the final. Rockets 85 and the Knicks 78. Coming up following your local news. It's The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. And then late night with Conan O'Brien, followed by later with Greg Kinnear. So for Matt Gukas, Ahmad Rashad, Hannah Storm, Bob Costas, I'm Marv Albert from the Summit in Houston, Texas. We will have game number 2 here on Friday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The Houston Rockets, led by Hakeem Olajuwon, who had 28 points over the Knicks in game 1.